My dear friend, I feel today, I want to share this with you. Like I am, like the light went on again. There are people sometimes who have dabbled in narcotics in the world, and they find themselves sometimes in taking a new drug. People have described cocaine and some forms of amphetamines to be so pow that people chase that feeling again. They never have it again. It's this feeling of absolute wow, I get it. I understand it. Aha. I see it. And then it kind of, you become acclimated to it. The first time I ever did a tandem skydive, never felt that way in my life ever again. Did the second time solo. It didn't come close to it. But it was a feeling of an awareness. It's like, wow, I understand. To have that much, adrenaline going through. Well, I'm kind of like that now. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but that light is going on. And I will tell you something. And I'm going to say this, and I want everybody listening, especially if you're from my generation. Everybody that I know, a lot of people, especially in Florida, who are not in the entertainment, political business, are into this, well, it's time to retire. Here we are. I got my grandkids. Nothing wrong with grandkids. I think it's a beautiful thing, a wonderful grandkids. But I feel now, 21, 20 years old? I mean, this is everything, poof, went on. I don't know what it is. I think I think it is definitely, absolutely, it has to do with neurotransmitters. It's not mania. I'm not that. But put it this way, it's a very healthy mania. So many things going on. The WABC thing is just, I have not been with those people in 30 years. No. Well, no. 26. Anyway, but let's see. I started 30 years ago for sure. And I'm seeing all of my friends again. You know James Golden? You know who he is, right? Bo Snerdley. He and I worked 30 years ago. He worked with Rush. He's on ABC again. And he's there. Curtis Lewa, I've known. Well, he's always been here. 30 years. He's here. The board ops and the engineers, people you don't know. One worked at OR, one worked at ABC, one worked at EVD. And they're there. A newsman, they're there. I know everybody. And it's this, it was sort of, there were other media things, but now it's exploding. That framed by this, accentuated by this, altered by, supplemented by this. I'm seeing everything different. Give me another example. This is also interesting. For some reason or another, you see, when you do YouTube, you got to understand. I'm going to get to today's topic, I promise you. But when you get to YouTube in particular, there's all these folks out there who are always trying to tell you, well, here's what you do. Mr. Beast, who is the creepiest guy, how anybody watches anything that he does, God bless him. God bless the bigot. I don't get it. what are you going to do? All right. But he'll say, we work sometimes 3 months or whatever on a thumbnail or something like that. You got to have the right thumbnails. Okay, that's good. And you got to make sure that your summaries are okay, and the tags, and use the tag, and make sure your lighting. Make sure you got lighting. Is your lighting okay? You got to have the lighting. It really means a lot for the lighting. Oh, and the sound. Make sure you're mic'd up for the sound. Make sure the sound is incredible. The sound. Okay. You got to make sure you got the sound. Yeah, okay, good. Because the sound is critical. The sound. All right, fine. Make a long story short. Well, guess what's happened? The other day, for reasons that I just by happenstance, I decided I'm going to take my phone and I'm just going to take a little walk. And I'm going to talk to people on the phone. That's it. Kind of stupid. I thought, this isn't going to go anywhere. This isn't a big deal. Okay, fine, I'll do that. Okay. All of a sudden, I'm doing this kind of a shitty looking phone thing. It's just I got my earphones in. I'm holding it, kind of shaky. Not even a stand. Nothing. The numbers have been through the roof. More than I said, wait a minute. Why? So last night, Mrs. Ellen and I went to a political meeting. It's very interesting. It's kind of almost, I kid about it. It's almost like the Illuminati. It's like these folks who meet, and a lot of us are sort of kind of in the bit. I don't care about it, but other people say, well, we don't make it a big deal. But it's a bunch of conservatives or Republicans here in New York City, which is kind of a rarity. And we're talking and we're meeting. So when we left, it was in the theater district. So we walked past through Times Square. So I said, with Mrs. Ellsworth, I said, you know what? What the hell? Let's just, let me take out the phone and let me go ahead and do this. So I took the phone up and I'm showing people Times Square with no, I don't even have I'm not even connected into it. The sound is horrible. You can hear the ambient sound. And I'm just walking and we're just. When I went to this meeting, somebody said, I like your tours. These are from New Yorkers. I said, what is with this walking tour thing? We like that. Don't you want to hear my view on that? Well, don't you want to hear my dissertation on Virginia Giuffre and that? There's no thumbnail. So I don't care about thumbnail. Well, the sound, we don't care about the sound. We just think it's nice. We like it. So ding, 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 ding. We have become a slave to the format. And it's not, how do I say this? And don't get me wrong, some people do exceedingly well, not everybody. But I'm noticing, I think it might be better to be more authentic. Have you ever been at home? I'm sure you've had. You can go to a restaurant and they have you saying, do you ever see a sandwich at a restaurant? Very professionally done. Got a little toothpick with the frills and the olive periscope and all that stuff. They bring the little French fries in this metal thing on a stand with, it just. But you can be at home and you can take a loaf of, like a baguette or a French, Italian bread or whatever, make these irregular cuts, lather it with mayo or cold cuts or whatever. It's just ugly, with a bag of chips you bought and a beer or whatever it is. And it's the greatest, right? It's the greatest sandwich in the world. And it looks terrible. And it's not professional. And there's no pesto sauce on it. Or there's no... But it's great. It's authentic. And it's real. Isn't it, Steve? That's exactly the way it is. That is exactly it. It's fantastic. And then last night, as we were discussing this, it also hit me. I know you have not taken full advantage of ChatGPT. I know you have not taken advantage of ChatGPT. I know you haven't. I know you haven't. There's no, it is the greatest thing. And now it's ChatGPT is up to 5, I think. It is the greatest thing in the world. Let me give you an example of why. And this absolutely destroyed me in terms of something which I was aware of. First, do you know in the old days, we were talking to someone who's in the New York legislature. In the old days, you had by statute X amount of days to read bills, continuing resolutions, the stuff they throw at you when the Congress. Nancy Pelosi said, we have to read it, or we don't know what we signed until we read it. You hear that? No, we didn't know what was in it until we passed it. Okay, fine. Okay. Then somebody comes along and says, no, wait a minute. And in the state of New York, by statute, you've got like 3 days to read something, and then the governor can pass something called this expeditious thing where it says, based upon the exigency of the situation or some particular language to that effect, we have to accelerate or, add celerity to this. So we don't have, so sign it. He said, but it's 1,200 pages. Sign it. But I haven't read it. Sign it. So in this event last night, we're watching this. Lo and behold, there's this woman who raises her hand. And she says, I've got something. I'm in IT. And I looked at her like, yeah. What was it? MS-DOS, maybe Windows 98. I don't know, honey. So I'm listening. I said, okay, what is it? And she said something which hit me like a ton of bricks. It was so perfect. It was so simple. It was so eloquent. It was so everything. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like that sandwich I talked about. It doesn't look like much, but it actually is better because it's so crude and it's simple and it's authentic. All right. She said, listen to me carefully. She said that all of these bills can be taken care of absolutely, positively, and very simply by merely putting them through ChatGPT and telling the ChatGPT system, I want you to read this. I want you to look for the following. I want you to whatever it is. And I thought, oh my God, she's right. I never thought about it. I know that may sound like not much to you, but I just realized ChatGPT just changed everything. It's a game changer. Absolutely, positively changed everything. Everything. Do you know what that means? That means that this subterfuge, this camouflaging, this technique that was used for years, load them up with pork, with additional expenditures, like Doge. How do you think Doge figured this out so quickly? And by the way, where's Elon Musk? Did he just leave? Are we supposed to say? Is he gone? I don't know. But in any event, how do you think they learned so much so quickly? It was through ChatGPT or AI. Changed everything. Changed everything. Thanks to this man, Donald Trump. Changed everything. So then we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this. The other night, I was on from, 2 to, and I was talking about things like Operation Mockingbird. You all know that. This is one of the first things you learn before you're in the conspiratorium. Operation Mockingbird, Ajax, Paperclip, just go down the list. And I went through this list of Dorothy Kilgallen's suicide, Marilyn Monroe, and Virginia Giuffre. And people said, I never knew that. And instead of saying, you didn't know that, I hate when people say that. When somebody comes to you and says, I didn't know about, the Bilderberg. You didn't know that? People always say that. That is so rude. It is so rude to make people feel stupid. Like, well, no, I didn't know. I'm surprised you didn't know that. Well, I told you I didn't know that, because people always want to make you feel stupid because they want to show you how smart they are. The light went on and saying, I'm going to introduce to people things that that they have not heard. Because let me tell you something about WABC, which is the most interesting thing. They only listen to WABC. That's it. I mean, they might watch Fox every now and then, but that's it. So if you are on WABC and you leave and go to WOR or Core TV or Air America or Pix 11 News or whatever it is, as I did, not to mention all of this stuff and international and everything, they don't know. They're so loyal. They say, oh no, you got to be here. And if you leave here, it's sayonara until you come back. So I have this brand new group of people that I can teach all this stuff to that you know. Ding, ding, ding. Lights are going on left and right. How AI is changing everything since the last time we were on. It's blowing me away. It is just the most incredible thing. And we are learning so much, my friends. We are learning so very much. I am telling you, we are learning so much. This is such a better world right now, thanks to Trump, but also, and the first thing I want to tell you is simply this. Do not, let me say this again. Do not read anything in the news other than what is being done. Do not read the news. There's a story or something about Scott Pelley, and Scott Pelley kind of read almost like a valedictory, like our producer who we work for has left because of the constraint. Scott Pelley never cared anything about any of the lies that were going on during the Biden administration. But what they're doing is they're trying to tell you, and they're trying to explain to you, that for reasons that we shan't understand, that people don't like Trump, nonsense. People don't care for Trump, nonsense. People don't whatever, nonsense. They're lying to you. They're lying to you repeatedly. They're lying to you in ways that is so duplicitous. And what I'm telling you is that there is such good news. We have a new audience. We have new people. We have new folks. And we're going to use such incredible things, such incredibly important things, like, for example, like what's going on right now with AI and other things, and the power and the force of President Trump. We're going to destroy these people. Now, what I want to talk to you is I want you to understand this thing called woke America. It's called woke America. What does it mean? What is it about? What does it even stand for? And it's something you have to explain. And this is something which I don't think is explained enough to you. But I will explain to Jasmine Crockett and the like. But first, dear friends, this important and critical word. Are you drowning in debt? Struggling with credit cards or medical bills or personal loans? Well, you're not alone. There's help, real help available right now. National Debt Relief is one of the top-rated debt relief companies in America, helping thousands of individuals like you break free from overwhelming financial burdens. For anyone owing over $10,000, National Debt Relief may be able to reduce that debt by up to half or even more. No bankruptcy, no new loans, just a smarter, faster way to financial freedom. Here's how it works. Step 1. You submit the form at No Debt with Lionel. Just go there right now. Step 2, a representative will call within minutes to discuss personalized options. And step 3, they'll create an affordable plan tailored to your individual budget and timeline. Many clients become debt-free in as little as 24 to 48 months, paying less than they owe and avoiding years of stress and interest. And the consultation is completely free with no obligation. So what are you waiting for? Why keep dodging calls and watching interest stack up? So go right now to nodebtwithlionel.com. That's nodebtwithlionel.com. This could be the turning point, the step toward peace of mind, control, and a fresh start. nodebtwithlionel.com. Go now. Okay, my friends, let me give you an up to speed thing. And this is what you're going to do today. You're going to be purveyors of this. You're going to be experts in dark woke. And it's a phrase which may or may not come out. It's not what you think. It's not dark like black or African American. No. It's like the Black Pope. Nothing to do with what you think. It's a different story. Again, all of this information is there, but I want you to pay attention. Let me bring you up to speed on this. This is the rise of dark woke. This is a warning shot from the radical left. And I wish I'm going to be, there's a couple of little local groups that are, I guess they're conservative Republicans. I'm going to speak to them, even though that's not what I am. I am for the purposes of this. When historians look back on right now, on the chaotic, the weird years following, and actually I would say prior to from 2016 on, but right now in particular, Donald Trump's triumphant 2024 reelection. They in the future will look back to a very curious and weird cultural phenomenon that exploded across social media in early 2025, and it's happening right now. It's called dark woke. W-O-K-E, woke. Now, on the surface, dark woke appears to be just another, I guess, in a long line of leftist tantrums, you know. It's been described as this grim, sullen, moribund, humorless sequel to the protests and the hashtags and the tantrums that were a part of and characterized the original woke movement of the 2010s. Remember where this started from. It's kind of interesting to see the historical antecedents of this. But dig deeper, my friends, and you will see that dark woke is something even more dangerous, and it's happening right now. It's a desperate, angry backlash, really, which is good. They're losing their grip, which is a radical mutation of woke ideology, and it's fueled as usual and propelled by rage, humiliation, this gnawing realization. Let me stop for a second. I've got some great super chatters, and I'm sorry, I've been very, very remiss. Our good friend Raul Rodriguez says the F-bombs uttered by a politician hits hard. Oh, there we go. Hits hard. Indeed, they do. PM says, have you been approached by crazed street persons? No. Unless I've seen you, my friend. Raul says, I was writing a story with the help of ChatGPT. After a while, I said, I'm feeling like a loser. He said, listen to me, you're not a loser. I like that. I don't know if he meant that to be funny, but it was interesting. Johnny Mazza-Spaz says, mainstream media is not reporting about Virginia Giuffre at all. Daily Mail is concerned about if Jack and Rose could survive on the door from movie Titanic. I know. That's why we're here, though, my friends. That's why we are here. And brand new also, Gracie Loves George says, ChatGPT spit out what it knows from the internet. It has been incorrect. Government using it is dangerous. Years from being accurate. Oh, no. Let me tell you something right now. Accuracy? Where is there accuracy? Would you say what? Books? Whose books? Do you think the National Review is accurate? Do you think Breitbart is accurate? Do you think New York Post? FoxNews.com? Infowars.com? You can phrase it any way you want. You, when you write something, ask it. Let me give you a hint about ChatGPT. I want you to imagine you're the director of a movie, and you're explaining to the lead character what it is you're trying to do, okay? And you have to ask, I want you to come up with a story. Let's say on the dark woke. Give me a 1,000 word, a 1,500 word, or whatever word history of dark woke, or the latest stories from April to whatever. And I want you to use Fox News, Breitbart, and I want you to write it in a style which is pro-Trump. You can tell it. It is not inaccurate. I mean, you could argue, but tell me where does accurate? Look at textbooks. Look at whatever. Is Neil deGrasse Tyson accurate? Is the internet accurate? So I understand what you're saying, but accuracy does not exist anywhere. But I thank you for that. But what I'm talking about right now is this angry. And by the way, Jasmine Crockett is the face. There's this realization on the left that they have absolutely lost the culture war that they thought they already won. They don't understand this, and none of this matters. They're still trying their best to say, "Oh, nobody likes Trump, and Trump. This is the first 100 days." Is that nobody cares about this? So where did dark woke come from? And this is really interesting. Dark woke didn't emerge from think tanks or college campuses or corporate boardrooms or maybe influencers. The way that the original woke culture did. Instead, it was born out of pure, blind rage. Remember, the first woke came right around BLM, right around that, but it was more of a, BLM and George Floyd, but it was this word of woke, which, by the way, is a past tense of wake, but it was more of like an urban kind of a black reference, and then it was taken. Remember, Trump's phrase or Trump's utilization of the term fake news, that was originally a lefty term. We took that. The term gay, as used by the homosexual group, was also purloined and acquired and that sort of thing. So on X and Reddit and TikTok and all the others, the other corners of the, dare I say, the activist network or internet, in January of 2025, days before Trump's inauguration. That's really where it hit big time. So when the left, the radical left in particular, finally realized that Trump was not only back, but that he was stronger and bigger and bolder and more dangerous and had more people and people like us screaming and yelling and more aggressive in dismantling their beloved DEI and ESG and these government-backed scams like USAID and all of that money that Doge destroyed, and the social experiments, the CRT, the 1619 program. You don't realize a trans, this and that, and reparations and blah, blah. Most, when they realized this, most of them didn't cry. They lashed out. And there was this hashtag called Dark Woke. And it came out, and it slipped by me. I wasn't really paying attention. And it was this furious, kind of an angry, progressive thing where influence declared that civility is dead and that trolling and mimetic. Remember what meme is? Meme was a term that Richard Dawkins came up with. Memes or mimetics are ideas or thoughts that are transferred the way the way chromosomes are and the way genetics are. So they said that, this trolling and mimetic warfare, these were now acceptable tools to destroy conservatives and Christians and traditional Americans. And this, by the way, this wasn't black folks. This was dark, meaning evil. Okay. So rather than apologizing for their failures, rather than, doing that, these radicalized lefty freaks double down on the hate. Big time. Our good friend, let me see here, Mr. Pilgrim Media says, I am happy that you and Mrs. L are getting out and about. You don't think we're out and about? I mean, I appreciate that, but you don't think we're out? I'm recording it, but we're out and about. Believe me, I'm just recording. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. We're not housebound or shut in, I promise you. Gracie says, government writing bills and using ChatGPT to read and then sign is the problem. Government is not a movie set, although some might think they act as much for cameras. However, you're right. But here's what you can do. I can take the PDF, if you will, of a bill, throw it into ChatGPT, throw it into OpenAI, and say, give me a summary with the sections. And it will say here, 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 and here. And then I go and I look and I see for myself. It would have taken me hours to even get to that. Don't poo-poo this. We need this. We got to tweak it. We got to fix it. We can't turn our back on it. It's like the gun changed the Wild West. But it also has some problems that were attendant to that too. If you have a contract, if you have a lease, if you have something, a car contract, something that you're thinking, oh my God, I can't, put it in. Go through it. Give me the section. Summarize it. Give me the what I'm looking for payment, this, default. Look through it. Oh no, it's the greatest. It's not using knowledge from some lefty Silicon Valley. It's reading it. And you're telling it, find this for me. It doesn't say, well, this is some right-wing Trumper. I'm not going to bring up the part about the default or the acceleration payment of it. No, no, please, don't dissuade people. Don't dissuade people. It's not what you think all the time. The internet's a wonderful thing, except that most of the time, those people were shutting down information. Look at Virginia Giuffre. Compare to what you learn about Ukraine, with what you hear here versus what they say on RT. It's a completely different thing. A completely different story. So remember, don't do that. It is one of the greatest tools. You will thank me for this. Nobody's ever looked through mortgage applications. Nobody ever read through this. It will read it and summarize it and tell you accelerated payments, default, line 2, page 3. Please, it's great. Now, to have it right, who was it? It was sometimes lawyers will use it. It's like, no, you've got to check every. No. Sometimes people can use it and they're like doing the wrong citations. But it is better because remember, it learns constantly. Did Cliff Notes get you through law school? By the way, it's Cliff's Notes, not Cliff. And we had something, they had canned outlines. Cans were what people used. And that was a version of this, which are canned outlines. Were they good? Better than most. Do you prefer the Reader's Digest? Some people, that's all they read. By the way, the level of humor, absolutely off the charts. Thank you. You've got a real gift. So dark woke, back to that. Dark woke isn't about, equality or tolerance or any of that. It's about revenge. Do you hear what I'm saying? You following this there? Where's our friend? Where is this? Oh yeah, Montano, Nick. Follow this. Pay attention. I know you're funny, but you might want to pay attention to this one. So, what does dark woke mean? This is important. If the original woke movement, was obsessed with virtue signaling and all that PC nonsense, and if that's what it was, well, this is a different story. Oh, look who it is. Mark Kolisha says, did you ever check your inquiries across AI platforms? ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Grok? The outputs are quite different. Yes. And they should be. And I hope they would be. Yes. Well, what do you mean? Check your results. What results? In what year did Christopher Columbus die? Okay? You understand this? In what reference does what? This is the part which doesn't make any sense. That's the thing which is so critical, okay? Now, listen to me carefully. By the way, this is a most sad person. Mantoni Nick, one day we're going to find out what happened to you. What happened to you? I want you to relax. And I want you to keep chatting But there's a real anger element to you. It's underneath you, and it's okay. Let it out. You're probably hurt somewhere along the line, and we're glad you're here. Somebody send some love. Send some love. He's obviously hurting, calling out for attention. Look at this. Corrected spelling, the last refuge of a weak position to begin with. The anger, this jumbled, please, somebody, send him some love. There's a part of his soul that has died and eroded, and I think you're better able to handle it than I am. So, where did we leave off? Ah, yes, the original woke. Can you define woke? Do you remember what it is? The original woke movement, the original woke, or at least we talk about, was obsessed with this. Again, virtue signaling and this PC and speech codes. Well, dark woke says, no. We dispense with that altogether. That's pretense. It's vile. It's vulgar. It's violent in tone. Okay? Think memes fantasizing about pushing Trump voters down the stairs, or calls to shame religious families in public spaces. Remember the Westboro Baptist Church? How about protests that will show or feature smashing eggs or throwing drinks, kind of Antifa, even outright physical confrontation, all justified as resistance. This is paying attention now. And it's not just performative outrage. No. It's kind of like a tactical shift. And what dark woke does, and by the way, they're always putting up this Jasmine Crockett, who was she is great, because the Democrats are saying, we don't want her to represent us. She's angry, she's vile, she's profane, and these other people are. So there's going to be a fight and a split within the Democratic Party to find out who is going to run it, especially come midterm time. So these dark woke folks, these activist types, they believe that, playing nice lost them the country. They believe that that's why they were playing nice. And they kind of see this kind of like this doddering coot, this Joe Biden and Kamala. They say, oh, no, we're not going to do this stuff. We're not going to do this. So now they see that harassment and humiliation and destruction, they see these as legitimate political strategies. So the mask is off, the veneer is off, we know who they are, and they're telling you basically exactly what they are. And that's far uglier than anything the mainstream media ever acknowledged about the original woke movement. And foot soldiers, the people who are in the front line, who are they? Who are these people? You see, dark woke isn't driven by anonymous trolls, or it's being mainstreamed by elected officials, corporate elites. For example, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, they openly, they will say, kind of flirted with, they kind of embraced dark woke rhetoric, and kind of that language early of this year. They encourage their followers to stop being polite. Remember that? Kind of like Maxine Waters, but this is stop being polite. Start making them rather uncomfortable. Remember Taylor Lorenz, the lefty, whatever she does, Alyssa Milano, Michael Rappaport. Remember this? They amplified this dark woke sloganeering, I guess, on social media. Remember, they turned their platforms into endless streams of rage memes and political hit jobs. There were, remember, you might have seen some more radical, some radical organizations, Democratic Socialists of America, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, don't forget, the various PACs, which began quietly, but obviously, adopting dark woke tactics in their fundraising emails, political organizing. You see, dark woke this is not a fringe movement. It's being normalized inside the Democratic Party. And we like that because there are some old school Dems who believe in civility, and there are these other people who are trying to counter that. So we want them going at each other. Now, dark woke is being used politically like you cannot believe. The strategic goal, very simple, of the dark wokers is to destabilize conservative America. That's what they want to do. And we have to call them out and tell everybody that we know who they are and let people know this is what you're doing. It's like Larry Bird, who would call his own shots. He would tell you this is what I'm going to do. And the radical left, they know they're losing the battlefield. They know this. You know, our side, the good guys, faith-based media, America first. I like America only, but the policies, parents reclaiming control over school boards and curricula, border security. Today, in front of the White House, there are pictures of illegal aliens all around the perimeter. We're winning, and they don't know what to do. Do they have new programs? No. Their job, as some of you here would notice, your job is not to promote anything, but just to stir stuff up. And that's what the left is. But these aren't fringe causes anymore. They're majority movements. Now, it's different. They have a new reality right now. A new reality. And dark woke, their mission is to make life unbearable for you. Do you hear that? Unbearable. To smear, shame, intimidate, to isolate, to call out, to scare you, to push you down. They want to do this. Remember, not promote ideas. They want to isolate anybody who stands against this leftist, radical left orthodoxy. So you can already see this strategy in schools. For example, students are bullied for expressing traditional religious beliefs more than ever. In workplaces where conservative employees, targeted for cancellation through whisper campaigns, public life. You probably heard of Christians and patriotic symbols are being openly mocked and vandalized. Social media in particular, conservative influencers face organized harassment, mass reporting campaigns, swatting. Thank God that's toned down a little bit. You see, the left cannot win the argument. It can't. It doesn't have an argument. It doesn't have a position. Dark woke aims to poison the well, to make being a conservative so socially toxic that fewer people are willing to speak up. Well, it ain't working. It's failing. And the reason why is there's just one problem. It's not working. It's not. But in the meantime, and I want you to listen carefully, we must remind people that the left is there and what they're doing. The American people are watching this unhinged spectacle, and they are repulsed by it. Let us remind them all the time. Poll after poll show that voters are fed up with this leftist extremism stuff. Remember the Tesla keying? Remember that one? Anybody? What good was that? What did that accomplish? They're tired of being told they're bigots for believing in biology, or the people are tired of branded as domestic terrorists. They're tired of it for attending school board meetings. They're trying to do this stuff. And by the way, Pam Bondi's got to be a little bit more aggressive in protecting the rights of those individuals who are being attacked for daring to utter their thoughts. People are tired of being mocked for loving their country. And Trump's landslide reelection, and remember, it was nothing short of that. It wasn't an aberration. It was a mandate. But the dark wokers, they can't believe that. You see, for all their anger and their fury and their shrieking and yelling or whatever, they're powerless to stop it because they don't have anything. They don't have anything. Do you understand what I'm saying? In fact, every time a dark woke activist types smashes a statue or screams obscenities in a public hearing or threatens violence against a conservative speaker, they only push more Americans towards the America First, or what I call it, the American Only movement. These folks, these dark wokers, my friends, they're scary. But let's make sure everybody knows about them. Make sure everybody calls them the face of the Democratic Party, because they're telling you the truth. They're revealing the truth the mainstream media spent years covering up. The left's radicalism was never about compassion. It was about control. It was about chaos. It was like sometimes if you ever read sometimes live, stuff that people write, it's not to participate. It's just to say, hey, look at me, and let me see if I can throw a turd in the punch bowl. And that's the way it goes. So the question you're probably asking is, will dark woke burn itself out? I think so, but I don't know how long it'll take. The movements that are built on rage and hate are inherently unstable. We know that because what we've done is we have been so important and so careful to make sure that we have a plan and not just rhetoric. But don't expect them to abandon this dark woke business. As 2026 midterms approach, expect more desperation, more hysteria, more lunacy. Look at this. And more scorched earth attacks on conservative values. So it's up to us, it's up to President Trump, it's everybody else to hold the line. And it's also for every parent who stands up for their kids' innocence. Listen to me. Every pastor who defends what they call biblical truth. Every worker who refuses to bend a knee to give in to some DEI nonsense. Or more important, every voter who rejects people and candidates and movements that push radical social experiment, that's how it changes. My friends, we can expose this. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to focus today to tell everybody you know about dark woke. Everybody. Read it, research it. Tell it for what it is. At least explain to them this horrible aspect, because we are winning. I want you to understand we are winning. We are absolutely willing. Look at this. I will not comply. There you go. Laura Floyd just shows hands of prayer. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Let me see here. What do we have? Some Gracie. Donald Trump. I'm reading some very, very good. Oh, here we go. AI speech. Don't take away a job, occupation from a human, needing employment while promoting the platform cause the company's momentum. Ray, it's over. I don't understand, Ray. You're right about that. But there are some things, it's over. It's over. What do you think anybody can do about AI? What are you going to do? Stop this? Come on. No way. Use it. Make yourself better. Use it to every time there's ever been any kind of adaptation, any kind of appliance or any kind of instrument. They've always said this is the end of this particular group. Every time there's been any kind of movement, newspaper laughed at radio laughed at TV laughed at, people laughed at cable, people laughed at the internet. There's always somebody who says we can't do this. You're not going to stop. And by the way, it's not just that. When I go into like a CVS or something and I see some poor person show me how to use the checkout, even at a Costco, they're saying you're showing me what will ultimately end up being the demise of your job. But this, unfortunately, is reality. I'm sorry. The assembly line increased productivity, but also led to the elimination of more jobs by compressing and making the production more fluid. That's the way that goes. Pilgrim says, I was accused of using AI in my photos. Not true. Who accused you? Who accused you? I don't understand what that. How about this? Have you or any of you folks ever seen filters that will smooth out lines, that will make people look skinnier? Andrew Hessing says, dark woke is the only thing making them money. Feeding the hate is profitable for them until they will not change. Well, I don't know how they're profitable, because this is going to hurt them. And you've got to remember that I want everybody to recognize the fact that Jasmine Crockett is the face of the Democratic Party. Not AOC, not Bernie Sanders, but Jasmine. Gorilla says, I will not comply. Utah Phillips. There you go. Well, also, by the way, this is important. I want you to recognize that our biggest problems, believe it or not, is going to be midterms. And you may laugh at that, but that scares me more than anything else. At least for the time being. All right, dear friends, thank you so very much. By the way, please go to Mrs. L on Lynn's Warriors. Watch her incredible video on Virginia Giuffre. We are not letting anybody get away from recognizing this absolute horror. So Gorilla Bob and Andrew Hessing and Pilgrim Media, we thank you. Mark Kolisha, Gracie Loves George, we thank you for that. Johnny Maz, Raul Rodriguez, we love you for your thoughts and comments. But go to Mrs. L, check out her piece on Virginia Giuffre. And thank you, dear friends. Thank you for your focus. More walkabouts, more walking tours. We're having some kind of fun. People are digging that. So I'm going to do it. And plus, I don't look like an idiot walking around with a phone talking to it because everybody else is. The old day, I'm going to get one of those sticks. I know. But it really would help kind of like with the focus of it. But I'm going to do that one. In any event, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. Thank you so much. We will talk to you soon. Don't forget, make sure you subscribe to Lynn's Warriors, Lionel Legal. By the way, just did a live one on Lionel Legal. Go back and check that one out. Just before we did this. Lionel Legal. Subscribe and be a member. All right, my friends. All right. We'll see you later. Don't forget to sign up. Make sure you subscribe to Lionel Nation because we have more things coming up later. So until then, remember, as we always end with this valedictory, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.